So Igor Shesterkin, the future starting elite goaltender for the New York Rangers, and down the road on Long Island, the New York Islanders have goaltending prospect Ilya Sorokin. There's a lot of similarities between these two goaltenders, and it may be adding to some fuel to the fire between the rivalry between the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers. And we're going to be taking a look at that in this video. If you like what we're doing here, Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. And let's take a look at Ilya Sorokin and Igor Shesterkin between the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers. It's actually kind of scary the amount of similarities between goaltenders Ilya Sorokin and Igor Shesterkin. And we're going to be taking a look at the two of them in this video and how it is going to affect the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers rivalry, hopefully, in the very near future, and add a little bit of a storyline to this storied rivalry. So starting things off, we're going to take a look at the New York Rangers goaltender prospect Igor Shesterkin. He had an unbelievable season with the New York Rangers this season, his first year in North America, and it was a pretty solid year number one for Shesterkin with the New York Rangers. He's a former 2014 fourth-round pick, 118th overall. He's 24 years old and has spent the last couple of seasons in the SKA with the St. Petersburg team in the KHL. Last season, he had 28 games played. He had a 1.11 goals against average and a 953 save percentage. That is really good for the Russian goaltender. Igor Shesterkin put up some very solid numbers last year in the KHL. Now this season, he starts off in North America in the American Hockey League up with the Hartford Wolfpack in the AHL. And he did pretty well in his 25 games there as well. A 190 goals against average and a save percentage of a 934. Very solid numbers once again for Igor Shesterkin. Maybe not as good as it was in the KHL, but the American Hockey League's a pretty solid league too, and especially for goaltenders, that's a pretty solid number there for Igor Shesterkin. And now, in his 12 games that he spent with the New York Rangers on Broadway this season, he went 10-2 with the New York Rangers, put up a goals against average of a 252 and a save percentage of a 932. Still one of the better save percentages in the NHL. Now, he only did play 12 games, so we could take with that what we will. But a pretty solid rookie season for Igor Shesterkin, and was really, putting the Rangers on the path to possibly making the 16-team playoffs. I mean, they're in the 24-team playoffs, which is still good. But the 16-team playoffs, this is really, the Rangers had a possibility of making those playoffs. That's why they got into the 24 team. But the Rangers, who the start of the season, Lias Andersson really wasn't playing as well as they hoped. Philip Hedl needed to go back to Hartford. And it just seemed like the Rangers weren't completely ready for that next step yet. They didn't have the depth, but things kind of turned around for the New York Rangers. And they ended up keeping Chris Kreider. They ended up keeping guys like Jesper Fast and plenty of other guys that were pending unrestricted free agents for this summer. And the Rangers held on to them. And it looks like the Rangers are going to pay pretty nicely for that as they go into this 24-team playoff format. But besides that, pretty solid numbers for Igor Shesterkin. Fourth-round pick back in 2014. Like I said, 24 years old. Now that we've talked about that, you're going to see the eerily similar Ilya Sorokin, the New York Islanders prospect here. So Ilya Sorokin, a former 2014, same draft, third-round pick at 78 overall. So that's pretty interesting. That's 40 draft picks between the two of them. And he's 24 years old, so he's the same age. He's a little bit older. He was born in August. Shesterkin, I believe, was born in December. And he played with the CSKA Moscow in the KHL. Again, same league, same country. They both are Russian teams. CSKA Moscow is also a rival to SKA St. Petersburg, just to add to that. So again, the Islanders and the Rangers have a rivalry. SKA St. Petersburg and CSKA Moscow, they have a rivalry. So it's just insane how crazy this situation is. They're both the same age, both the same draft, pretty much, third and fourth round picks. And the numbers here are eerily similar as well. Looking at the last two seasons for Ilya Sorokin, back in the 2018-2019 season, in 40 games played, a .940 save percentage and a .116 save percentage. Some really solid numbers in the KHL last season for Sorokin. And in this season, in 40 games played in the 2019-2020 season, a .935 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against average. Again, just really solid numbers in a very competitive, solid league in the KHL. Now, if you look at the success from both of these teams, if I'm going to compare, the CSKA Moscow is pretty much the elite tier team. You talk about like Datsuk went to this team, and this is one of the top teams in the KHL. A very highly regarded, top tier team in the KHL. And Sorokin and that team have had a lot of success winning championships and being one of the better teams in the KHL. And Sorokin has been a huge part of that. So is Sorokin a part of the solution, or is he just a factor that, because of the team just being so good around him, he has inflated numbers? It may be a combination of both, but we'll have to see what happens, hopefully when he comes over to North America next season. These two goaltenders, like I mentioned, they're both 24 years old, both in the 2014 draft, third and fourth round draft picks, both played in the KHL, rivalry teams to each other, and they're going to hopefully have that here in North America with the New York Islanders, Ilya Sorokin, and Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers. And if we see some playoff battles between these teams, I don't know how I'm going to manage to survive that playoff series when that day comes where the Islanders and the Rangers are playing each other in the playoffs again. It's going to be, I get nervous the week before an Islander-Ranger game, let alone an entire series. I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I'm pretty excited for that because these two goaltenders, just the talent of both teams, you have Capo Caco and Matt Barzal, Shesterkin and Sorokin in between the pipes, Pulak and D'Angelo on the blue line. It's a perfect rivalry that we're seeing develop here between the Islanders and the Rangers. And it's been pretty sided one way or the other over the past 3 seasons. The Islanders most recently have been dominating the New York Rangers up until this season, where the Rangers have definitely gotten back at the New York Islanders. But before the Islanders, I believe it was like 5 or 6 game stretch against the Rangers had a really good stretch against the New York Islanders back in their Stanley Cup final days and things like that, and in Henrik Lundqvist's prime and stuff like that. It was a really solid, it kind of was one way or the other, it seemed like, but both very competitive individuals here in Shesterkin and Sorokin, and the future looks bright for both these players. Shesterkin's already in a New York Rangers sweater. Sorokin, not so much yet. If you want to check that out, I'm actually editing the video right now. That should be posted very soon. Actually, this video probably came out after that video, but make sure to check out that video where we talk about Ilya Sorokin with the New York Islanders and the drama that has been with Sorokin and the Islanders. Shesterkin a little bit easier of a road. The Rangers kind of knew they were going to get Shesterkin and bring him in. And this is, again, this isn't even set because the Islanders haven't signed Sorokin yet, but the intent is there for Sorokin to sign. And these two solid Russian goaltenders will be playing each other in the same division, in the same conference, in the same state, in New York. It's going to be pretty exciting to see that in the near future. So that's it for this video. Comment down below. Obviously, I know you Islander Ranger fans out there. Which one do you think is the better goaltender? I think both these goaltenders are very solid. And again, obviously, it's easier to look at Shesterkin's numbers because he's played at the NHL level. We haven't seen Sorokin in the NHL in North America yet, so we don't totally know yet. But both these goaltenders have put up some very solid video game-like numbers in their respective over the past couple of years. So that's it for this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.